Okay, this coming Sunday at A Place to Talk, we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 7, verse 6, just verse 6. We've kind of been leading into this conversation with Jesus saying, don't judge, because if you judge, the same measure you judge will be meted out to you. In other words, if you judge others, be prepared for them to judge you back in the same kind of way. And then we talked about, anyway, we've been on this conversation about judgmentalness and about how to deal with judgment. Today, or this coming Sunday, we're going to be looking specifically at this passage where Jesus says, do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. What does it mean that they'll turn and tear you to pieces? I've never really thought about that part. Like they'll just destroy you. What is something sacred that people commonly throw away? Does it happen? Do people commonly throw away things that are sacred, that are valuable? Is Jesus calling human beings dogs? Does that bother you? It just kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. Jesus is always talking about people and how valuable people are and how important people are. You know what? I'm wearing a Denver Nuggets shirt and it's not like I'm a big Denver Nuggets fan. I just wanted a yellow shirt to go with some shoes that I wear. That's kind of weird. Sorry. But anyway, it just crossed my mind. Is Jesus calling human beings dogs? And I think about how the Denver Nuggets won an NBA title with Mike Malone, and then a year later just threw him away. That just crossed my mind as I'm, making this video. When Jesus says, what is sacred, does it bother you? It bothers me a good bit, because I would imagine Jesus sees people as sacred, not things that you would call what. Like what seems like what sounds to me like a person, place, or a thing. I mean, no, like a noun, like a thing, like what. Like you would say who if you're talking about sacred things, I would think. Am I looking at this wrong? I found myself wondering, is that idea in the original text? Was Jesus actually saying something else? But no, it looks like that describer as what is in the ancient text. But don't forget, nouns can be ideas and not just things. So Jesus isn't saying things are sacred like a Bible or a cross or an emblem. He's saying that that ideas can be sacred. And I'm going to choose to say that this idea, what sacred Jesus is talking about, is this concept of love, and how, the whole thing's built on love. What are your thoughts about things that are sacred? All of this is what we will talk about next Sunday at A Place to Talk. I believe that will be June the 7th, Sunday, June the 7th at A Place to Talk. Why pearls? When I think about pearls, I find myself wondering why they have ever been desired. It's like a hardened mucus, right? That wraps around a grain of sand to protect an oyster. So why on earth did pearls become this thing that are desired ever at any point? In some case, history seems to tell us that pearls were very, very rare. And you might go diving and pull up 1,000 oysters and only find one pearl. They weren't crafted. They couldn't be made. And so they already had this intrinsic beauty, like you just pulled this pearl out and it was beautiful. Some people thought it looked like it had light coming from it, even though it didn't. They were already done and ready. You didn't have to, like with a diamond, if you find a diamond, you have to polish it and shape it. But these pearls were just already beautiful. And so some people think that that's the reason pearls had this value. But Jesus here, we think, actually was talking about pearls. The same thing we think of when we think of pearls. I kind of wondered if it was something else, but probably not. Jesus was probably talking about actual pearls. Is Jesus calling human beings dogs and pigs? So when we look at the dogs and pigs references together, I wondered if a racial thing is going on. Is Jesus saying Don't give your good concepts, your good ideas to the Gentiles. They're dogs, they're pigs. Remember, dogs were not household pets at this time. They were just like savages, like looking for food. And pigs were considered unclean. So I wondered if this was a Gentile thing, but I don't think so, because all throughout Matthew, Gentiles are portrayed positively, like the Magi, the Roman centurion, the Canaanite woman. Jesus seems to, even though he does have a little, kind of a nasty conversation with the Canaanite woman. It's interesting. Jesus's his culture, his upbringing, his religion did have some animosity towards non-Jewish people, right? And so you got to wonder, what was Jesus saying here? We'll talk about this coming Sunday at A Place to Talk. No conversations off the table. Everything's welcome. And ultimately, our goal, our intention, is to help people love like Jesus loved. And this text here kind of makes you go, this doesn't sound very loving. So we'll talk about that. What is some sacred thing that people commonly throw away? We'll talk about that this coming Sunday. Is there a difference between loving someone and continually exposing yourself to harm? Is there a time that you just have to go, you know what? What I have here is precious, and I'm not going to continue to give it to you. What if the pearl is not a thing, but a conversation? Have you ever come to the conclusion that some people you just can't continue to have a conversation with them on social media? They just label you as a liberal or label you as a conservative, and they just shut down conversation with you. They're just incapable of having that conversation. And it's just maybe time to say, you know what? I'm not going to continue to put out my valuable thoughts. Whether my thoughts are right or wrong, whether your thoughts are right or wrong, it's valuable to me to understand and to learn and hear. But some people just can't take it. They can't handle hearing your thoughts and your ideas. And so maybe we just stop having that interaction with them on social media. My wife is always telling me, block, block, block. She's always saying this person's name, block him, just block him. And I'm like, I don't want to block him. He's a mirror to me. He even when what he says is idiotic and wrong, and it's just stupid, I listen to it and I think, is he right? Is he saying something about me that has merit, that should cause me to think and change? And so I don't want to block people. I want to hear the horrible things they think. But I'm not going to intentionally, try to help them or try to keep throwing what I consider my valuable information, my valuable ideas toward them. I'll just continue my journey and not really spend much time concerned with them. I want to hear it. I want to listen. I want to allow it to be a mirror. I want to see if it helps me, but then move on. I'm not going to continue to toss my pearls before metaphorical scavages, people that just aren't going to see any value in pearls. Does that make sense? What's something sacred that people commonly throw away? How should we talk about this? Dogs and pigs. Dogs, pigs, and sacred objects this coming Sunday at A Place to Talk. I hope you can participate. I hope you can join us and take part in the conversation. See you then.